Okay, so let's look at one of the vulnerability tests that we can actually run. So what we have is a Linux image here, and we should find that in here we have a few services running. So the services that we have running in the Linux image include FTP, Telnet, Web, and so on. And then what we're going to do is run Hydra from the Windows image. So we'll just find the Hydra folder first. Here we are. So we have Hydra here. And then what we're going to do is that we're going to run a Hydra vulnerability test from the Windows image into the Linux image. So we'll just find out what the interface address is, and it's 75.137. Okay, so it's 192.168.75.137. Okay, so we'll just run nmap to see if we can see the services that are running within inside the Linux image. And while we're doing that, we'll just run Hydra over here. So Hydra itself can actually investigate a wide range of protocols, and here are some here. So we have the service, where the service itself can be Telnet, FTP, and POP. So what we'll do is that we'll do a scan of the FTP server. So we can see here that a scan has shown that it's a Linux image, and then it has FTP open. So what we'll do is we'll scan for the usernames and passwords within inside this. Okay, so what we have is that we have a file called login.txt, and I've just added a few different user IDs: admin, test, test1, and Napier. And we've created a password file, anon, Napier, Fred, none, password, and Napier 123. Obviously in a real life situation there would be thousands of user IDs and passwords in here. Okay, so we're going to run Hydra. The -l defines the user ID file, -p defines the password file. This is the address that we're going to scan, and we're going to scan for the FTP protocol. Okay, so it's now scanning. It just takes a little minute. So what it's doing here is to go through each of the passwords, and we can see here it's actually found the login name and the password. So if we wanted, we could show it in a verbose format, where it will actually show us the usernames and the passwords that it's actually testing. So we can see here it tries each of our user IDs followed by the password. So in this way we can actually investigate our systems to see if they are vulnerable to attack. We can try the same for Telnet. You can see here it's trying a few, and again it's actually found out the login name and the password. So if we wanted, we could run Wireshark to have a look at the footprint, because obviously what we want to do is to use something like Hydra to be able to see our vulnerabilities, but we also need to see if someone is actually scanning our network. So we'll run Wireshark here. And not in the Linux image. Just takes a little minute to start up. It's obviously running slightly slow because it's in a virtual image. Okay, so there are many options that we can use with Hydra, such as defining a different port if it's not on a standard default port. As we can see, FTP ran on port 21, Telnet on port 23, but if there are servers running on other ports, then we can scan them too. Okay, so we'll just capture from here. Seeing some background traffic coming in. Okay, so we'll now run our Hydra attack again, and we can see here this is the trace that we get. So you can see lots of incoming requests. And the ones we're interested in are up here. So we can see here this is where we're getting the communications between the two devices. So for example, we have a look. So this is where it's asking for a password, and then this is the password being passed, which is none. There's the password Fred, and we can see now it goes on to user test. It's asking for a password for test, then it's passing password user test 1, password required for test 1, and then anon, and so on. So eventually what we should see is a successful login for the user, and that happens. You can see here these are unsuccessful logins, login and incorrect. So eventually we should see a login correct. If we just keep going down, obviously we can search for this if we want. Sending messages back here showing that it wasn't successful. Again, login incorrect.